3.5 million women in the UK use the contraceptive pill. It's something you take daily, regulate monthly, and if it's used correctly, it's 99% effective at preventing pregnancy. However, there are side effects: hives, weight gain, blood clots, immune deficiency, anxiety, low libido, panic attacks, depression, and the list goes on. Finding the right contraception is a lot of effort for a lot of women. Any kind of hormonal intervention comes with huge amounts of side effects. And living in a city like Glasgow, that still has a reputation for the high teen pregnancy rates in any city in Europe, it's an important choice to get right. Elena Bergland and her husband invented a non-invasive, non-hormonal contraceptive app that works without any of these side effects. It combines ancient methods of fertility tracking and new technology, and at first glance it should be perfect. However, it's been around since 2015, and its biggest users are married women. I want to know why an app that seems so simple isn't being used by my generation. The app is called Natural Cycles, and the way it works is it's got a really intelligent inbuilt algorithm. And all you have to do is add your daily temperature readings first thing in the morning. You can miss up to 2 days a week, and the more proactive you are, the more accurate the information is. The app recommends that you buy these LH tests to make sure that its ovulation predictions are correct, and it also sends you out this thermometer that's accurate to 2 decimal places. Each day the app tells you if you should use protection or if you can go without, so you can take steps to avoid or plan pregnancy. What's interesting is that while the pill has a failure rate of 9%, Natural Cycles, if used correctly, only has a failure rate of 7%. There are in-app messages that offer you lots of support and encouragement. However, it's still really hard to trust something on my phone with my future.
I think it's maybe about 5 months now. I feel that now at this point I've kind of got to the stage where I'm like trusting it, because I think you need to give yourself a bit of time for the app to get used to your body, especially if you have been on other contraception that has been affecting like how your body works. You need to give that time and be cautious at first, but eventually you're like, oh, I can see this working. Like you can actually see that it is monitoring your body, and it does find things, like it finds when your period's going to come, and it's maybe only a day out, so it's pretty accurate at the moment.
So you feel confident using it? It's something that you trust in?
Yeah, I definitely trust it now, and because like I trust that I know if I'm maybe not monitoring my temperature the way I should be, then that's my fault. So like the app isn't a magical thing. You need to use it the way you're supposed to use it. You need to monitor your temperature in the morning, like before you move about, at as close to the same time every morning as you can. And you know, like if you've not done that for the last 3 days, it's not going to be correct. So you need to just be more careful. You need to be cautious.
So in my sort of research, I was recently reading a review by The Guardian. Have you read it at all?
I read that,
yeah. You have. So they were just sort of talking about some of the criticisms, like it's too restrictive, you can't have sex when you want to, the science behind it is really complicated. How would you address that? Is that something you've...
Well, that article really annoyed me actually, because I just thought this is someone, yet again, here's another review on it by someone who just wants to badmouth it. Like, they've not tried it. There's not any reviews from people who have like tried it and given it time. Not that I've seen, not published by something like The Guardian anyway, and I just thought that the things that they were saying just I didn't relate to them at all. Like, I can have sex whenever I want, but I need to, if it's a red day, then I need to use protection. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just, it's fine. Like, you don't need to worry. As long as you know you're doing the right thing, then you can do it whenever you want.
Yeah. Talking to other women, it's sort of like the shared responsibility is quite a nice thing. Is that something that you felt in your relationship?
Definitely. So with my partner, I obviously discussed it with him because I knew that this would be a change for him, and he's been so good with it as well, and I love it because I now feel like there's a balance in our relationship. It's not just me that needs to worry about these things, like he needs to think about it, he needs to make sure that he's aware, and it really doesn't affect us. Like, it's actually quite nice, and it's like we can have a joke about it and we can, like, I don't know, laugh and stuff. It's good. I think that young girls would just benefit so much by knowing of it. I know I would have, like, I can't imagine what would my life have been like if I'd known about natural cycles rather than taking hormones since I've been 17. Like, I probably would have been a much happier person, maybe a more productive person. it's crazy to think about that.
So my next question is, do you think it's something that the NHS should get on board with?
They 100% should. And I know that they're so scared of it, and like I've had friends go to a doctor and maybe mention that, oh, I've got a friend that's using this, and the doctor's basically like, no, she's going to get pregnant like right now. And I've had to overcome all of this, all of these like negative things people are saying to me, and I'm just like, nope, I'm going with my gut and I'm trusting this, and I'm thinking of like my future. I'm kind of like investing in a hormone-free, happy future.
That was a really interesting chat that I had with Emma. She seems to have figured it all out. She's willing and motivated to make the app work for her, and she's actually got the support networks as well, which is really interesting. I think now more than ever, this is something that I really want to get involved in, I really want to have a go at. I was prescribed the pill at the age of 14 as medication for teenage acne. The only question I was asked is if any women in my family had blood clots. They didn't, so I stayed on the pill for 8 years. It's very common to find women stay on hormonal contraception for all of their teenage life. There was a study published by the American Medical Association last year that found teenage girls were 80% more likely to need antidepressants and suffer from anxiety as a direct result of using the pill. For 64% of women, the side effects are too much, and I was one of them. Once I began looking into research and talking to other women, I couldn't get the idea out of my head that it could be better. That's when I saw an advert on social media for Natural Cycles.
I was on the pill for ages, and then when I got diagnosed with depression, they were like, right, okay, we're taking you off the pill, we're going to put in the Mirena coil.
So, what do you think of me using this app?
I'm proud of you. I think it's brave doing it the way that we all live. Do you know what I mean? I could never do it myself. There's no way I could do it.
Why not?
I'm just like, I drink too much and late nights partying.
But like when I was,
I've
been trying to get people from the NHS or people who interact with women and giving them advice and things to talk about natural cycles, and nobody has, because they don't recommend it.
Yeah.
So they're really reluctant to give young girls a chance to use it because it is completely reliant on lifestyle.
But it should come with the options that you get, like the Mirena or the implant.
I
should be one of those options, like without.
But one of the things that they're really adamant on is that, well, we're not going to recommend it because it doesn't protect against STIs.
No, okay.
And they're like, loads of replies I was getting, it was just all on the same lines of this. But no, the worst thing about it is trying to get a strict routine.
Yeah.
Because I'm working in bars.
Yeah.
And my routine is unreliable. So if I go out late one night, that ruins me for the next morning. I have to put a deviating temperature. I drink a little bit too much and it's like a deviating temperature.
So that would just never work for me because I'm out every night.
Yeah, but you're doing like music stuff. So
Yeah.
The appeal of hormonal contraception is that it's quick, it's relatively easy to use, it's free, and there's some sexual liberation involved. You get to choose when, if, and who you have children with. I can relate to all of that. Katie's someone that knows me really well. She said that she thought I was brave for trying this out, and I guess I'm still cautious about whether or not this is something that I can make fit with my lifestyle. So, making a little documentary about Natural Cycles app, I'm going around talking to women, finding out what their different opinions are, and I've arrived with you. So could you tell me a bit about what you think about it?
Well, I think for me personally, I feel that I wouldn't be using that app. And I feel that really it comes down to the sort of lifestyle that I have, and I feel that in order for the app to be successful in such an important job that it has, life-changing effect, that really you would have to be very, very sure that you did your research and you knew exactly what you had to do in order to make this app effective. So for me, I feel that maybe it's not worth the amount of effort that you have to go through in order to ensure that it is effective. If you were going to use this across the board, like your lifestyle in your 20s is not the same as the lifestyle that you have in your 30s. So even on the app, they would say to you, this was tried on women that have a regular routine. This was tried on women that have a long-term relationship. Also the fact that there's so many steps that you have to go through in order to make it successful, it just wouldn't be for me at all.
That was a really interesting chat I just had with Maggie. She's kind of reiterating a lot of what Katie said about lifestyle playing such a huge factor in whether the app works for you. For a lot of women, it just doesn't, and a lot of those women are young women like myself. I'm trying really hard to make this app work because I want it to. I think for a lot of women, hormonal contraception gives them a lot of freedom, a lot of sexual freedom, a lot of sort of daily freedom of not having to think about things, and that is a lot to give up. Natural Cycles has now become available in pharmacies in Sweden. It's growing in popularity, and young women might not be the biggest users, but they're the ones who should at least be aware of it. It's not a perfect app, but it is another choice. More than anything, all these conversations highlight the fact that what women need is support with whatever contraception they use. As for me, I'm going to keep trying to get up on time.